Hello, my name's Michael Chambers from London. I'm 53. In 1972, um, when I was conceived, it was out of wedlock. Both of my parents were young, 19 and 23, both from Catholic families. They lived at home with both their parents and they had jobs. They got engaged briefly, but then split up. At that point, my birth grandmother decided on behalf of my birth mother that I would be adopted through the Catholic Children's Society, then called the Crusade of Rescue. It was her decision, not my mother's, and she considers it a forced adoption, which I agree with. Um, so the point there really is that the only reason I was adopted was because of the social stigma of unmarried mothers at the time, which I blame on society, but also on the Catholic Church for creating those social values. Um, that I didn't have any health issues or any family stability issues that I think would have been good reasons for me to have been adopted. So the official reason that my birth parents gave to the agency was that they wanted me to have a stable, loving home with a father and a mother. So in 1972, in June, I was given up for adoption on the day of my birth, as far as I know, and I was put into the baby home at the Catholic Children's Society in West London, where I stayed for 6 months. After 8 days, I was circumcised. I was there for so long because I had a stiff neck when I was born, and the doctors wanted to monitor it before I could be released for adoption. When I was adopted, um, within a few years, my adoptive parents descended into alcoholism. My early memories are of them in separate rooms in drunken stupors with me in the middle. They sent me and my sister to church on a Sunday by ourselves. We walked 1 mile along the A12 Eastern Avenue to St. Teresa's in Newbury Park, there and back by ourselves. Occasionally, our father would come, and when the church service started, he would go across the road to the Avenue pub, drink there, and come back at the end. Anyway, at the age of 9, my adoptive mother died of a heart attack, which I presumably was related to her drinking and smoking. And me and my sister were adopted again. At the age of 20, I contacted the Catholic Children's Society and I traced my birth mother and her family. And at 21, the same with my birth father and his family. There was no counselling available at that time. I was in touch with them for many, many years, but eventually those relationships on both families broke down, and more recently, relationships with my adoptive relatives have broken down. I remained Catholic all through my childhood. It was my rock of refuge, my rock of certainty in a difficult world. I was also academic. I understood this. It kind of made sense to me in terms of how bad I felt about myself. The Catholic notions of sin resonated very deeply with me, and of redemption through doing Catholic things. Um, when I was 21, I went to Glasgow. I worked for the Jesuit volunteer community as a volunteer for a year. During that time, I met Youth 2000, the Catholic student youth group in Glasgow, and through them I met Opus Dei, a Catholic group, or some people would call it a sect or a cult. And I quickly joined them. I quickly decided I didn't want to be there, but I was given the fear of God. I was told that anyone who puts their hand to the plow and doesn't look back is not fit for the kingdom of God, or that I would be like a dog returning to my own vomit. There were no psychological evaluations in Opus Dei for new members. I was considered a celibate member for life the moment I said yes to God in Opus Dei. There was no involvement whatsoever from the Catholic Church outside Opus Dei, and there was no interest at all in my life, in my past. I quickly learned not to share that. Anyway, that caused me a huge amount of pain and torment for 9 years, and a lot longer after that. My relationships were, I left in a real mess, and it took me 20 years to fully forgive everybody in my life who needed to be forgiven. And that has been a transformative experience on the inside. Though sadly for the Catholic Church, it does mean that I have no um, interest in Catholicism, no need for it. And I don't really sense that there's going to be any meaningful recognition of the impact that Catholicism's had on my life. I've complained about my Opus Dei experience to bishops and Opus Dei, and I've been told that at the age of 23, I was a mature man able to make rational decisions by myself. What they don't know is how hard it is for an adoptee to have a stable sense of self. It took me 52 years to have a stable, secure sense of self, of solid ground inside me. Really that long, you know. And that's difficult for people to understand. They just think you're an academic, intelligent person, they can understand their decisions. And legally, maybe that's true, but emotionally, um, it's not. And I would dearly love for genuine people in positions of responsibility for the legacy of Catholic adoptions in this country to start to become allies. How? By emotionally connecting with the issues of adoptees, of adult adoptees, to understand the lifelong impact of being separated from your mother at the age of 0, and in my case, also being an orphan for 6 months and having a tragic first 10 years of life with alcoholic adoptive parents. I appreciate your patience and kindness in listening to me. Thank you.